Hey, Mike.
Morning, Jake.
I feel like I just saw you because
You
I
did
kind
just
of
see
did.
me.
I know.
Did
So, Mike and I have been at a conference at Northern Quest Casino in Airway Heights, Washington, called ACES. And ACES is a little like a family gathering. Like you're friends with like 50% of the people there. It's cities and counties in Washington.
yeah, and so we should say ACES because there's lots of ACESs. This is the Association of County and City Information Systems. So this is people largely from Washington State who do IT in government, specifically local government. There's state people there as well. And remember, I worked in the public sector alongside those folks for about 10 years. And, unfortunately, it's been so long since people have been together that I'm not remembering names until I see name tags. Or maybe that's the whole getting older thing. I don't know. Either way, great conference. And I really appreciated the opportunity to talk about Pisces. I was invited to talk about Pisces. And I think we have about 6 more cities and counties that are signing up for free security monitoring from the conference. That was great.
Yeah, it was great. And walking through the casino, I think I smoked about 3 packs
hmm hmm
just walking through. But it was fun. It was
Yeah.
fun, and I might have played blackjack. I might not have won. I do.
Might
Speaking
have
of
lost. Yeah.
that might be true. The house might have won.
Mm.
It is worth knowing about Pisces. So one of the questions that came up, so I have to tell everybody this funny story, which is I got there after Mike did his Pisces talk, and of course, the most important thing that I'm there to do is to ask everybody, did Mike do okay in his speaking? And everybody said no. No, I'm just kidding. Uh,
I know
no,
that's not true.
that's not true. No, people said you did great. One of the questions that came up is, okay, wait, as a customer of Pisces or a client of Pisces or whatever you call them, a Pisces city, what do I get from Critical Insight that I wouldn't get from Pisces? And there were a few things, right, Mike?
Yeah. Um, so Pisces really is a happy meal. And so Pisces does not monitor your logs, your Office 365, your Azure, your AWS. Um, Pisces cannot do remote quarantine of an asset freaking out at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, things like that. So, Pisces is really designed to be a basic monitoring level for small cities and counties using the data we collect, and it's metadata and IDS alerts. That's it for students to learn to be analysts, which they are doing a great job learning. So it's serving its purpose, but it's definitely not the commercial service.
Yeah, it's really great. And there's one small city I talked to that's super duper excited about it. And another city who's done it now for a little bit, and they're like, okay, now we're ready to graduate to the 24/7 service, and let's have
Yeah,
that conversation.
which
So
is a good
anyway,
result.
which is good for everybody.
Yeah.
So I do also want to say that there are people who saw you play live
Yeah.
at your last gig. How did that go?
I got to ask other people. I always think it was great. In fact, it was so good that I even stayed for the other two bands, which I usually don't do.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, by the time we play a 30-minute gig, I got a quart of water in my underwear, and I usually just go home. But
That's what
great,
everybody wants
great.
to know.
Okay, well, I mean, for full disclosure, great crowd. Got some great pictures that I'm really going to enjoy reviewing when I'm 80.
Is that next year? Oh, just kidding.
Yeah, it's funny, Jay.
Okay, yeah. So, all right, couple quick announcements. It's important that you know there's free security awareness training tomorrow at noon. If you need a link to that, email me, jake@criticalinsight.com. Also, we're going to be doing an urgent panel on Monday. That doesn't affect everybody. This is about, well, Mike, why don't you tell them what it's about?
Okay. Um, I think I know what you're talking about. SCADA and Mandiant have both put out alerts about a set of tools they've discovered that are designed to specifically take down industrial control systems or operational technologies, SCADA systems, whatever you like to call them. They are now at elevated risk. And this stuff has been compared to Stuxnet. And given the geopolitical instability and the fact that volunteers continue to pummel Russia with denial of service, anti disinformation, records theft, disclosure. Russia's starting to openly blame that on the U.S. This is a serious development. This is, we can't say with authority that, the Russians are behind this yet, but quacks like a duck.
And it's not all SCADA components. There are some specific ones that operators can search for and secure here. Do you have in front of you what the specific manufacturers are?
Yeah, I have the CISA alert here, which everybody should dig up and look at. In fact, I think I threw the specific alert from CISA in the blast. That's a great question, and the answer has everything to do with everything when you read a little on the what Mandiant said about this. What's known is that the Schneider Electric PLCs, that's programmable logic controllers, Omron, Sysmac, NEX PLCs, and something called the Open Platform Communications Unified Architecture, which they call the OPC UA servers, are all at risk. And the reason this list is really important, here's digging into the Mandiant stuff, is because it's thought these components, these specific ones, are the result of intelligence gained by having previously penetrated some utility operations, and they know the specifics inside. And they've created exploits for these specific components. So they're already in there. And if these pieces are your pieces, the trigger may be pulled on you. So this pay attention to this.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading that CISA bulletin on this, and they have very specific guidance for operators, including enforcing use of MFA for all remote access to networks and devices, changing all your passwords immediately for SCADA devices, and then changing them regularly, and most importantly, making sure you have monitoring for those networks for signs of suspicious activity. So, if somebody gets in, you know it in a matter of minutes.
Yeah. And when you say SCADA components, that would include the management servers. So those are called the historian and the human machine interface. And those are definitely in scope here, not just PLCs and the others in the list, but whether or not you use those specific components, that's just a good practice. All that stuff, especially if you have remote access into your utility and you don't use multi-factor authentication, you are doing it wrong.
One of the nice things about doing the LinkedIn Lives when you're at home is you don't have coworkers coming in and waving.
It's not a coworker, that's Kevin.
I have all of that. And so it's important to know we'll be diving into this with some rigor on Monday at that urgent panel. If you want to sign up for it, you can send me an email, jake@criticalinsight.com. It'll be on our website later today. Just go to criticalinsight.com, click on events, and it'll be there. And you'll be joined by Bjorn Townsend, who does quite a bit of security consulting work in those kinds of environments, specifically the water sector. He just did a whole talk on the water sector, and he's written a white paper. The water sector is one, Mike, that really doesn't, it's a critical sector. I mean, we all drink water, but it hasn't really received the regulatory guidance and enforcement for cybersecurity. I mean, they have some, but it's not regulated like the energy sector.
That's right. And everybody does drink water. And let me just say, after coming back from ASUS, I should have drank more water. So let's recap some other stuff here too, because this is interesting. Microsoft says that Windows is under attack by Chinese actors using defense evasion malware that uses the Windows task scheduler to hide a device's compromised status from itself. Account takeover is a bigger and bigger problem. Just this week, I've been getting some info from friends in places about how compromised accounts are being used to redirect payments, and it's a bad problem. The thing that stands out to me is this recent reporting on just how big a problem this is. It surpasses ransomware as the number one loss factor here. More money is being lost through fraud and some of these other things, right? And specifically tied to credential theft. And in fact, the US just seized something called raid forums, which was a marketplace for exactly that, stolen credentials, right? I mean, I could pay to get your AOL login, Jake.
Well, I never did AOL. I was a firm CompuServe user. Maybe I did. I don't know. I can't remember. I don't ever remember hearing you've got mail. But you know, I mean, that makes sense, Mike, because it's easier to make money by tricking one person than it is to lock up an entire organization and demand a ransom,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So anyway, everybody should attend security awareness training so you or your employee are not the one that gets tricked. Just
Right.
saying. What else, Mike?
Well, it turns out, I mean, this kind of theft, again, along with fraud of many types, right? Advance fee scams, right? Nigerian 419, romance scams, right? Is a bigger financial hit by far than ransomware. I mean, this is
Mm-hmm.
just an astonishing fact.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, do you think ransomware operators are going to move to new tactics then?
You mean you think there's a sign of that? No, because I think, and this is actually borne out by some research, this stuff is mainly coming from African countries, Nigeria for sure, but Ghana and others are really working this hard.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, folks, gullibility has consequences. And, you know, you should treat any unexpected message, whether you get that in email, social media, text, whatever, treat it the same way you treat getting a phone call from a number you don't recognize. Ignore it. Ignore it. Best policy.
Remember, security awareness training on Friday.
Okay. All
Wait,
right.
that's tomorrow, and that's you and
That
me.
is tomorrow. Yeah.
Anything
All
else?
right. Let's see. Yeah, other big news this week. In fact, this is kind of what points at the Russians as being behind this, you know, ICS toolkit. Ukraine says it stopped an attempt to cause a blackout with this in destroyer wiper malware, killware, whatever you
Mm-hmm.
want to call it. So this is known to be associated with the Russian sandworm group.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Sandworm, which is, it's not criminal. It's Russian GRU. This is a big story. You know, Ukraine figured out how to avoid this thing going down, which means you can do that. You know, and I'm sure that they're monitoring, called something out right away. They had a
Mm-hmm.
response plan. They executed that and dodged a bullet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, but you know, fog of war. I don't know. Has it been verified by the U.S.?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I have no reason to disbelieve that.
Okay, well, let's get on to threats and vulns. Today's a big day here at the Seattle office.
Mhm.
We have a lot of folks coming in. You know, you've already seen Kevin, a lot of other folks coming in. You might have just heard the doorbell. So, like, get to threats and vulns.
Okay. So Microsoft just dumped patches on us Tuesday that fix something like, I think it's 128 vulnerabilities in a gigantic list of products. So one of these is CVE 2022 26809. That has a CVSS score of 9.8.
Mm-hmm.
Someone can execute code with admin privileges on an affected system and it's wormable. It'll propagate itself. So your computer wants you to reboot right now. Those
Mm-hmm.
200 tabs you have open, they will eventually come back. Do not resist the reboot.
Also, a thread I read concerning the health sector: ransomware affecting rural hospitals at an alarming rate.
Hmm.
You know, folks who we help.
Hmm.
You know, and something we would all, um, you know, I mean, it's awful when they target these smaller institutions and rural hospitals in particular. You know, give somebody, you know, if you don't work with us, give somebody else a call, but get some outside help,
Yeah.
like right now.
Yeah. And, you know, I think so. That's interesting. You know, an uptick specifically in rural hospitals, the least protected and still critical.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's a signal that the Russians, like we predicted, are trying to make up revenue to compensate for sanctions, right? Before they said, you do this to a hospital, you're a terrorist. Now they don't care. I mean, the gloves
Mm-hmm.
are off, sanctions, all this stuff is flying around. They don't care. So yeah, you call somebody, call us, call somebody. Some more here. So Nginx, okay,
Mm-hmm.
Nginx, a lot of people use this, has put out mitigations for a 0-day bug affecting LDAP authentication. And if memory serves, I think Nginx is a Russian product.
It
Setting that
is.
aside, yeah, I think it is. Setting that aside, it is a bit exotic to exploit this one, but a lot of sites use it. So there's also something called a lightning stealer that
Mm.
grabs your credentials, right? Remember, credential abuse is really, really out of control. It grabs credentials and cookies for reuse. and it's disguised as a Telegram app, right? The encrypted messaging app.
Mm-hmm.
So don't download sketchy apps that haven't been rated and don't look right in some way, right? And attend security awareness training on Friday so we can give you some examples of that.
All right, Mike, we're running out of time here.
Yeah, I
You
know.
got something? You got a kicker? You got something that's going to make us all laugh at the end of all this?
I like the one about this. So Gilbert Gottfried being the voice of Clippy. Okay, that was pretty funny. But I like the one about the self-driving car that was pulled over by police. And I can't remember what the infraction was, but the officer walked up the side of the car. There's nobody driving this car. Walked back to the police car, and the driverless car tried to escape. It took off. So what that means to me is
the driverless
AI,
car was programmed by O.J. Simpson. No, wait.
well,
What is it? What does it mean to you?
Oh, God. Well, what it means is the AI, I don't know if O.J. Simpson was involved, but the AI has been trained by all the real world examples of driving and has learned some sort of self-preservation. So bravo to the programmers that did this.
Was it a Ford Bronco?
No. No.
All right, everybody.
Sometime, wait a minute. Sometime you should read, if you don't know anything about the Stanford Marching Band, you should go to the Wikipedia page and read about the Stanford Marching Band and the kind of stuff they have done and what they did to OJ.
I feel like it's time to call this to an end now.
I do too.
Maybe I shouldn't have gone the OJ direction. I don't know. We'll see what
You
our
started
fans
it.
say. I did. I went right there. I was in a news control room when that was happening.
I was in a dentist chair.
Steve Martin, your dentist?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, everybody. Have a good day.
All right. Bye, everybody.